Hey, today I'm going to be talking about episodes 58 through 59 of Legend of ZhenHuan. The Emperor has been following ZhenHuan's advice and seeing Qi less and less. When she sends a servant over to tell the Emperor that she's sick, the Emperor loses his temper a bit.
不痛快就找太医，朕又不会治病。
Guessing that Qi will be pissed when she gets the news, ZhenHuan suggests that they go and see Qi together. They arrive to overhear Qi hitting and cursing at her servants as if it's their fault the Emperor won't come and see her. Also, obviously not sick. Xin knows an opportunity when she sees one and immediately starts blabbing. She tells the Emperor that Qi abuses the servants, especially ZhenHuan's old maid, even though she's Xin's maid and not Qi's. She's been doing this out of jealousy for ZhenHuan, taking her anger out on a lowly maid just for being related to her. Xin has the maid show the Emperor her scars from previous beatings, and Qi really doesn't have a leg to stand on. Xin says that whenever she tries to stand up for the servants, Qi shuts her down with her higher status. The Emperor has heard enough and decides to demote Qi back to Guiren and ground her. Xin Guiren doesn't get promoted, but she is put in charge of the palace. ZhenHuan is luckily given a break from having to cover up her overly large belly as she gets the news that she is carrying twins. Perfect excuse for why she's so big. With ZhenHuan on official bed rest and Qi grounded, the Emperor is forced to find entertainment elsewhere. The Empress Dowager pushes for him to see MeiZhuang. He agrees to do so, and after meeting with MeiZhuang, she gets MeiZhuang to agree to meet him as well. Since they don't show it, I can only imagine how that conversation went. It's obviously awkward meeting again for the first time since they're falling out what must have been 5 years ago. He gets hammered. He admits that he knows how disappointed she is in him, but there are times when he has to give up justice to keep the peace. He knows he did wrong by her, but it had to be. MeiZhuang is not impressed. The Empress Dowager sends over some aphrodisiac wine. She really wants this to work out. It actually spoils the mood though, and the Emperor leaves. MeiZhuang gives us a soliloquy about how much he let her down. She has some of the sketchy wine, and her monologue continues. She finally admits out loud that the person she really wants here is Dr. Wen. She drinks so much that her servant gets scared and calls for the good doctor to come and check on her. He finds her super drunk and a bit horned up from the aphrodisiac. He realizes that she just needs someone to talk to, sits down, and has some of the wine. Uh-oh. Things get a little spicy, and Dr. Wen takes her to her bed. Let's leave it at that. There's no indicator of how much time has passed, but the next time Dr. Wen comes to see MeiZhuang, she asks him to check her pulse. She's pregnant. Since she hasn't served the Emperor in years, it's obviously his. Friends and everything, it looks like both MeiZhuang and ZhenHuan will be cuckolding the Emperor. MeiZhuang needs to spring into action since there needs to be an explanation for her pregnancy. She's lucky the Emperor is always ready to sleep with anything that moves. She picks a day and pretends to have lost a bracelet coincidentally right in the area where the Emperor passes through. He has his servants help her look, and it turns out to be a bracelet he gave her once. So, I've been keeping your bracelet, I love you. And without even a bit of suspicion about this sudden 180, the Emperor is just like, okay, let's go. After waiting an appropriate amount of time, she reveals that she is 2 months pregnant. It's interesting that even though these two are best friends, they've both been lying to each other. ZhenHuan didn't tell MeiZhuang about her affair with Guowang, and MeiZhuang hasn't told ZhenHuan about Dr. Wen. I guess they might just be trying to protect each other, but I don't know, I feel like that says something about their relationship. In any case, the Emperor and the Empress Dowager are thrilled, and the Empress is ready to jump off a bridge. ZhenHuan also needs to start making plans, as though she's officially only 7 months pregnant, she's actually 8. Jingfei decides she can't wait around for ZhenHuan to take Longya away from her, and officially goes over to the dark side. She tells the Empress that she saw Su Peisheng carrying a pouch with embroidery from ZhenHuan's servant, Jingxi. Since their relationship is still technically under the table, and technically not allowed, the Empress makes a big show of it, desperate for any excuse to punish ZhenHuan. Without even telling ZhenHuan, she has Jingxi captured and sent to jail. ZhenHuan keeps calm as Jingfei testifies against her. The Empress has ZhenHuan's palace searched, and they find incriminating evidence in Jingxi's things. ZhenHuan has no choice but to say she'll go along with whatever punishment the Empress thinks is fair, but as soon as the Empress leaves, it's clear that ZhenHuan will not take this lying down. I love that new glint in her eyes. Luckily, the Emperor also wants to find a solution to this problem since it's cost him his closest servant. Su Peisheng is just as guilty as Jingxi and had to be imprisoned as well. ZhenHuan goes to see Jingxi in jail. It seems that even though she initially approached him only to help ZhenHuan, Jingxi has really grown to love Su Peixiang. When ZhenHuan promises to rescue her, she asks that ZhenHuan also rescue Su Peixiang if she can. We knew it would only be a matter of time before the Empress really started going after ZhenHuan again. This plan was a bad one. You can't punish ZhenHuan's servant too severely, or you'll have to punish the Emperor's servant just as severely. Not ideal, because this inconveniences the Emperor. You can't even attack ZhenHuan's character too much, because any insult you make about her not disciplining her servants can be seen as an insult to the Emperor, whose servant did the same thing. So, why did the Empress, who's usually so careful, go along with this? She's friggin' desperate. I can't even express how much I love ZhenHuan's attitude now. The Empress attacked and she didn't even blink. She was immediately thinking about her counterattack. Probably my favorite line of hers is when she's going to see Jingxi in jail and her servant warns her to be careful as her baby could be affected. She says,
若这点闷热都受不住，怎么做本宫的孩儿？
Like, how badass is that? Also, I love these two. Another really well-developed love story because it's been so obvious that MeiZhuang has had a crush on Dr. Wen for so long. I will say I can't wrap my head around the logistics of the love scene though. There are servants everywhere. All the time. I really don't believe that Dr. Wen took her to bed, took off all 17 layers of clothes, had sex with her quietly enough that not a single servant heard or suspected anything, cleaned up and left. Even if a servant just showed up to bring them more tea, they'd wonder where these two went. And again, there are no walls. There's even a scene later where Lingrong clearly picks up on how close these two are. Guys, you do understand that if you are caught, you will be killed, right? So anyway, ignoring all that, I guess I'm happy for them. ZhenHuan and Guowang are no more, but hooray for these two happy couples. Till next time, thanks for watching.